I'm here with Louise Gächter, who is the Data Protection Officer for the Principality of Liechtenstein. Now, Liechtenstein isn't in the EU, so does GDPR actually apply to you guys?
Yes, Liechtenstein is not in the EU, that's correct, but we are part of the EEA, so we are a member of the EEA and the GDPR applies to all EEA members. Unfortunately, this is not well known to everybody, and even experts on GDPR think we are outside, but it applies for us in the same way as it does for the EU members. So it's 28 EU members plus 3 EEA members.
Okay. And you were speaking today here at the Data Protection World Forum about cross-border compliance. So what are the key issues that people need to be aware of?
Cross-border compliance is a very special part of the GDPR because it's part of the, well, we can say it's not extraterritoriality, but it's kind of. So it means if you transfer data outside the EU, if there are no regulations regarding the transfers, you don't know what happens to your data if it leaves the EU or the EEA. And so it's very important to protect data if it leaves the EEA. And it's what I've seen when I was preparing my presentation. It's a really complex topic. And I think it will take time to find the perfect measures to protect data when it leaves the EEA.
Okay. Now we're yet to see the first fine under GDPR. What do you think that will look like? When do you think that will happen? How do you think it will come about?
Well, fines isn't important topic in Liechtenstein for the time being because we won't be able to apply fines before next year because our national law will enter into force only on the 1st of January next year. So from that moment we will be able to fine companies that do not respect GDPR. But I think in other countries it's very important, and I think many companies and experts are waiting to see how authorities apply these measures. So we'll see. Yes.
What do you feel GDPR has achieved so far?
If I look at our own country, I think it has achieved quite a lot. I mean, Liechtenstein is a tiny country, so it's easier for us as the competent authority to reach companies and institutions that process personal data. So it's easy to inform people, and I think information is the key to a successful implementation. So we have seen that in Liechtenstein we could have success, and many companies implement GDPR. And what we have also realized is that people, so individuals, are aware of their rights. And they contact us, and even if they don't complain, so they don't make a complaint under the GDPR, but they're very interested, and they call us to ask questions, to raise our awareness on certain topics because they want to know. And we see that many of the individuals are very well informed. So apparently people are not only interested, but they try to find information to have a good knowledge of their rights.
That's really interesting. I think over here what we are starting to feel a little bit is that customers, people are a little bit fatigued by hearing about GDPR and all the marketing emails they got or didn't get around that time. So you're seeing something totally different.
Well, of course that happens as well. So I can't say that everyone in our country is happy 100%, of course. But we see that there are two sides. So those who are fatigued, as you say, of course, but the others who say finally we're in a position to have our rights respected. So we've had a lot of people saying, well, finally we have a basis, which we've tried for years to change things because we were not satisfied, but we did, but then we were not successful because we didn't have a legal basis, and now they have it. So I think for those who struggled to have their rights respected, it's a success. But of course, for those who are less interested in having their rights respected, it's fatiguing.
So we're coming now to the end of 2018. As we go through the next year, what do you think the world of cyber and data protection will bring us?
I think this year it has been the main focus of most companies was on what are the first steps I have to implement in order to apply the GDPR. But I think next year there will be more complicated questions in the focus of companies. For example, the international transfers. Because my impression is that all these things, it was taking first steps, but companies hesitated was a more complicated issue, so they left them aside. So they say, well, we'll take the first steps, so we won't get fined, but we leave the rest for next year. So I think just international transfer, that's what we realize in our country, because it was when I was preparing my presentation, at the same time I received the first questions concerning international transfer and companies contacting us and say, well, we've tried to find a solution of our own, but we struggle, we don't find the perfect solution. Can you please give us some advice? So it seems that international transfer is a topic that will be in the focus next year, especially in our country.
Okay. Well, thank you for speaking with me today. It's been really interesting, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.